Hello and welcome to Charter Local Edition Northwest. Today we're at the Spirit Mountain Casino in Grand Ronde, Oregon, and we're covering the Coastal Economic Summit, so thanks for watching us. My guest today is Lincoln City's Mayor Don Williams. Don, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
My daughters and I love to come down to Lincoln City. We enjoy the coast, the shopping, the surfing. We always have a good time. How has the economy been treating you this year compared to past summers?
This year, all reports is that we're having a banner year. The shops are doing very well. If you just look at the traffic counts, excuse me, they're huge. That's one of our biggest problems right now is the traffic congestion and getting people to the events and through our city. But all indicators, great year. Great year.
Well, I guess that is a good problem to have.
It is a good problem to have, especially that we rely so much on the tourist dollars with our transient room taxes to support the city. So it's left us in a good financial state, which is nice. And
besides the room taxes, and the traffic, how else do you measure how you're doing economically?
Well, really, it's most of it is word of mouth. We're always polling our businesses and getting feedback. And because it's such a small town, myself, I own a restaurant, so it's easy to share my information with other restaurant owners, and we have hoteliers on the city council, and so it's easy for us to get that information.
I know at least for most people in the Northwest, it's been unseasonably hot, and
right.
How has that factored into your summer tourism season?
Well, I hate to say that we're benefiting from their misery, but we are. When it's hot in the valley, it's wonderful at the coast. I was able to participate in the Rose Festival Parade for the first time this year at the invitation of Charlie Hales. Oh. And our T-shirts, besides trumpeting our 50th anniversary on the front, on the back, I said, just as nice as Portland, but 20 degrees cooler. and that's kind of become our mantra. You can have 90 degrees in the valley, and honestly, when you cross that coast range, you can be into the 60s. On the minus side, we then get that marine layer in, and it's kind of foggy, which is nice, but then you don't get to enjoy the view as much. But it's been to our benefit. When it's hot, we're nice and cool. We have God's air conditioner right there in the Pacific Ocean, and it's terrific. Oh. And we're going to become spoiled. The summer outfit for most Lincoln City residents is a hoodie and jeans, and the poor folks who show up with their shorts and their T-shirts, they're rushing for the hoodies at the stores. So.
Well, it's good to pick up a souvenir while they're there, too.
Good point, good point.
Well, you mentioned that it's been a good season, that it's growing, that you even have the positive problem of traffic from time to time.
Right.
I know people are really starting to come to the Oregon coast from all over the country and all over the world.
Right.
Sometimes it can be a little challenging to get there since you don't have a 6-lane freeway to go from the airport to the coast. Anything you're doing to work on that aspect to try to boost your tourism?
Well, right now we're just finishing up our transportation survey plan in conjunction with ODOT to work on ways to move traffic through the city, and also we're trying to find that balance between transportation and recreation. As we start talking about bike lanes, one of the big debates is, are we trying to get people through on a transportation basis so they can get to the store or wherever they need to go, or are we going to focus on recreation and the people who are there, kids, and enjoying their bike and the like? So we're looking at how are we going to allocate those dollars. We have a real problem with where 18 funnels into 101. Now we're going to benefit from the Sherwood bypass, which should cut anywhere from 20 minutes to a half hour off everyone's drive, which will make it an easier decision to come to Lincoln City as opposed to our northern neighbors where you can take 26 out and in some good time. But once you hit 101, we've got some issues, and the problem is we don't have anywhere to grow right now to either side of the road. It's a good problem to have. It's a tough problem to have. We're rebuilding East Devils Lake Road right now for a couple of reasons. One, just to make it easier and a better roadway, but also to protect the lake and the fish that have to get in and out of there. Lincoln City has a very famous internet meme out right now with a lady shooing a fish across the road. And I don't know if anyone's seen that.
I haven't seen it.
Well, that's Lincoln City. That's Lincoln City. The salmon cross the road at East Devils Lake as they come from Devils Lake into Schooner Creek. Or I forget the creek, but as they cross the road there. So we've got some issues where we're talking about road diets and narrowing and sharrows and things like that. And my goal is to get people we're trying to develop east to west rather than north to south, so that we can start moving some commerce and commercial areas to the east and the west of the highway, and maybe develop, say, a mom and pop store a couple blocks in from the highway, so people don't have to go to 101 to travel to a major grocery store for those incidentals. Anything we can do. We're talking about possibly reintroducing the trolley system, at least for the summertime traffic. And again, we have to look at it. Is it a transportation issue or is it a recreation issue? Well, I prefer to market it as a recreational tool, so that instead of being on the highway looking for things to do, we can put people in a trolley and we can show them things to do. And it's not without its challenges. You know, how do you load up a family of 4 with strollers and backpacks and coolers to get to the beach on a trolley? Well, maybe that's not going to solve that issue, but maybe if it's just getting to the mall, and we work out something with the outlet mall to arrange transportation packages to the hotels and the vacation rentals, I think it'd be a win-win.
Well, it sounds like worth giving it a try. I know I grew up in Salt Lake, and they've used trolleys there on and off successfully, and they tried trolleys in Yakima for a while, and so they've done that in different areas here with varying levels of success in the West.
Right.
And it just might be a good option for you, especially when you're going from your big expansion contractions in your summer-winter seasons.
Right, right, because we can go from a base population, I think we're at, I want to say 7,500 to 30,000 in the summer. And it's a real challenge for staffing, especially, say, you know, not just the road traffic in the shops, but say our police department and our fire department. You know, how do we staff up for 30,000 people when 2 weeks earlier we only had 7,500 there? It's a challenge. But it's we've got that, again, we have that really nice balance of with the transient room tax, which helps offset a lot of those costs. So we're blessed in that perspective.
Well, I have one last question for you. You put away the business attire and the tie, moved to the coast, run a restaurant, you know, one of the toughest industries out there, a lot of hard work involved with that. What made you decide to be mayor and take all of this on?
Wow, good question. I question that every day. It really became an issue of citizens approaching me. And
what a nice compliment to you.
I hope. I hope I'm doing things right by them. I joined the Planning Commission, and that was one of the first questions is, why do you want to be on the Planning Commission? And I said, well, I moved around a lot as a child, and I learned early on, you either join or you don't get to know people, because when you're the new guy, nobody's seeking you out. So jump in, get involved. And so I got involved in the Planning Commission, and then people liked my perspective and said, look, we've got a mayoral race coming up. The incumbent mayor is running for a county commissioner, so we would like you to run for this. And we did a lot of praying, we did a lot of thinking, because I've never done public service before, and I'm finding one of the biggest struggles I'm having right now is the commission aspect of it, and I've always just run my own businesses. And so I'm just used to saying, we're going to do this, and this is how it's going to be, and I don't ask people's permission too often. And so that's an interesting thing. But as far as why, it was mainly just to serve, to represent a population that really was feeling like they weren't being represented. And won by a sizable majority over a long-term resident and incumbent, or public servant there. Great guy, nothing bad about that. But it was just, they wanted to change. And so I said, okay.
Now you have the change opportunity in place. You're adjusting to the decision by committee process.
Right, thank you. Right.
What do you want to accomplish in the next year for the citizens?
Well, what and I try to explain to people, I didn't have a giant agenda ahead of me, because the council and such were working on the public work projects, and very happy with the way we're going in terms of, well, we're working harder on getting more road improvements. But all the sewer, water, things like that were well cared for. What I wanted to see was a little more accessibility to the government. And some of the procedures, we've been going for the last 5 years through a difficult process with vacation rental dwellings and the regulation of those. And because I own a vacation rental, one of the frustrations I had was how ordinances were being formed and offered to the public. And it was really a frustration I had that I didn't think the public was having enough input, enough say in these things. And so that was kind of my goal, was to get these ideas and things in front of the people as much as possible before we make a decision, and not after we make a decision, which...
When everyone's up in arms about what happened,
let's
who
make
did this?
Exactly. And I was encouraged by our new city manager, Ron Chandler. He came to us from Utah, and that was the first question I asked him, and we had an informal meet and greet with the candidates for the position. I wasn't on council at the time. But to say, what do you think about an open forum? Whereas if the city is going to propose an ordinance, rather than giving the council the ordinance, why don't we give it to the people first and say, what do you think about this? What do you like? What don't you like? Coalesce those opinions and then bring it to the council. And he seemed to like that idea. We haven't gotten to that point yet, and I'm hoping we will at some point.
Well, I think it's a very good strategy as far as putting it out there, and then it's going to reduce at the end the number of folks who might come back afterwards and saying, why did you do this? How did this happen?
Absolutely.
It gives that opportunity, and if people choose to participate, great. And if you don't have time or the interest, then whatever shakes out, shakes out.
And the biggest struggle I'm having is finding ways to get that information to the citizens. Oh. It's on a website, it's in the newspaper, I'm on the radio once a month.
Communications is so fragmented anymore.
Right,
you get it into somebody's phone, which is the only way they really get it anymore.
Exactly, or if they're working. You know, there's a lot of hard-working people in that town who just don't sit at the computer and look for news of the city. They're just under the assumption we're looking out for them. Mm-hmm. Well, then sometimes, you know, you have a decision to make. Some things don't go your way. And that's what I say to everybody, from the high school kids I talk to the seniors we just had a meeting with. Be there, participate, because a decision is going to be made. And whether you have an input in that or not is going to be the factor that's going to influence you or affect you. Is that decision is going to be made, so please tell us what you want to know about it, what you want that decision to look like. And that's what I'm all about. I want to hear from the public over and over and over. And I don't care if it takes another month. It should be that way. It should be slow, and it should be what the people of the town want.
And to have people vote.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Well, Don, thank you. Just a pleasure to visit with you. I enjoyed it. I wish you the best with all your tackling.
Thank you.
This is Don Williams. He is the mayor of Lincoln City, and we thank you for watching. I'm Dana Cowley, and this is Charter Local Edition Northwest.